Yo, check out my website, www.theclowntimes.net. That's clown spelled with K as you see here. As you see, here are my rants here. I'll be more and more regular in posting rants in the future. You see what I have going on here. Also, you can also get your merch here at www.cafepress.com. Search for the Clown Time Sports. You see here I have sweatshirts, hoodies, baby gear, mugs, t-shirts. So just come on over and grab yourself some merch. Welcome to tonight's regularly scheduled program, NBA edition of the Clown Podcast. I'm Scott Burks. Please continue to check out, like, comment, share, subscribe to all the videos on my channel, my YouTube channel. Even if you do not agree with anything what I or my guests have to say tonight, and I always say you probably won't, but just like, comment, share, subscribe, because in any event, you'll be glad you did, and I'll be glad you did. All right, speaking of my next guest, y'all know from the yard/HBCU Sports, who raps about all things HBCU Sports. So it's Sleazy Radio every Tuesday now on Facebook Live and YouTube. And last but not least, his great work on Herosports.com. We raps about all things FCS Athletics as it pertains to HBCUs. He'll be really busy starting next month. So I'm really looking forward to college football being back, but I digress. Totally digress. But anyway, Dwayne Nash back in the house. How you doing, sir?
Man, Scott, I am out here in California right now. I've been enjoying this California weather.
Yes.
Oddly enough, I've had an opportunity to go out to a couple of baseball stadiums while I've been here, enjoyed some West Coast baseball. But I'm going to go ahead and say this now. I have a strong feeling that fans of California teams do not want to see me show up at their favorite team stadium. As of right now, the teams that I've gone to see, the San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Angels, my old self was about to say California Angels. They're a combined 0-2 when I show up at their parks. So it's been interesting, but I will say this. I did get a chance to see Shohei Ohtani. That's how you pronounce his last name, right?
Yes, correct.
Got a chance to see Ohtani's 15th home run in the month of June, which I believe ties a record all time amongst most home runs hit in the month of June. And you could almost guess who two of the other three are.
What? It's been a long day, bro. You gotta hit me. I don't feel like thinking.
Well,
right
the two that I remember most definitely, of course, are your Yankees. That would be Babe Ruth and Roger Maris.
Yes, of course. And Babe Ruth was also the last really superstar who actually both did it at the plate and on the mound.
Yes. So yeah, it was great to see Ohtani in person. I got an opportunity to jeer a couple of former Nationals and God, who is that? That's in LA now. But yeah, there were a couple of players that were former Nats that are now playing in California. Got a chance to jeer them a little bit and get a different scenery.
Max Scherzer is in New York now, right?
Scherzer's in New York.
Right.
Juan Soto is in San Diego.
Okay.
And Anthony Rendon is in Anaheim.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. There you go. Well, enjoy that weather. I envy you because it's humid as bleep here in Cincinnati because it's been storming. We went to an FC Cincinnati MLS game Saturday night. I was combusting my ass off. My shiny ass bald head was sweating. It was very uncomfortable. So I envy you. So enjoy that weather. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to taking it away and bring it back.
Well, don't envy me just yet. I'll say this. It's been wonderful the entire time I've been here up until Saturday. So now it's starting to get into the 90s. And then tomorrow I'm going to Mesa, Arizona, where I know it's going to be waiting 100 degrees for me when I get out there.
It's a dry heat, though.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
At least you got that going for you. All right. Speaking of not so dry, NBA free agency. The clock struck midnight. What was it? July 1st, I guess it was, when the NBA
On
season started.
Sunday or Saturday. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So he did. So here you go. All these free agency contracts. I mean, well, you got the extension, like Cat signing big ass extensions. We'll get to them in a moment. But all these free agent deals, like we saw Fred VanVleet get over $100 million from the Houston Rockets to be their point guard.
Mm-hmm.
You have, let's see, a field that's like, what's his name? Well, actually, Desmond Bain signed an extension. We'll get to him in a moment. We got like that white kid from the Lakers. His name escapes me right now, but he got like
God, what? It was just on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, mine too.
Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves got $54 million to re-sign with the Lakers. Good for him. He was formerly undrafted free agent. It was a 4-year max extension, by the way, for his position. So congrats to him. He earned it. Max Strus, formerly at the Miami Heat, also undrafted, got a $33 million from the I think the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm just going off of memory right now. And,
you're absolutely correct. Yes.
And so you got all these free agency signings. And I did a video earlier today, a short on YouTube and TikTok, saying that, we shouldn't really get mad at the players for getting this stupid amounts of money from these teams, right? Because I always say, don't hate the player, hate the games that they're playing, right? So, but to me, I just still wonder, how in the hell did Dillon Brooks get $80 million? How did Dillon Brooks, with his broke-ass jump shot, we probably have better jump shots than he does, and get $80 million from the Houston Rockets? How, Sway?
You know what, bro? I really don't know how to explain it, but I will say that the Houston Rockets as a whole, the moves that they've made, I've been rather impressed by. And Paul Silas's son probably has a good enough team to compete for one of those 7, 8, 9, or 10 spots right now.
He got fired.
Did he?
Yeah, he got relieved of his duties. But guess who's coaching them?
Who is
Your
it?
boy Emi Udoka is coaching those boys.
Oh, I forgot Udoka went to Houston. I forgot. I'm still a little concerned about how he's going to look like down there with all them strip clubs. But I see this, right? Though. The one thing they did do, they avoided that, what I like to call that train wreck of James Harden, and decided to go with Fred VanVleet and win a little bit younger.
Yeah.
And now that you're telling me that your boy's down in the head coach right now, knowing what he's done in Boston with this lineup of Fred VanVleet, Dillon Brooks has the opportunity to be his Marcus Smart.
Right.
He has the opportunity to be his Marcus Smart. And then the 2 draft picks that they got, the twin, Amin Thomas and Whitmore out of Villanova, both first-round draft picks, along with them still keeping, 3 of their top, if not their top 3 scorers from last season on that roster.
Yeah, the name escapes about 5 in the moment, but keep going. You're on the road, brother.
Yeah, Kevin Porter.
Kevin Porter.
Jalen Green.
Green.
Who was the third guy?
I know they traded KJ Martin to I forgot what they traded him to, but yeah, he landed in a good spot. But he was a good player from last year as well. So
and Segun,
yeah, that's another.
Yeah. So with them returning their top 3 scorers from last season, and then making the addition of VanVleet, and then Dillon Brooks and the draft picks that they have, the potential for that team is most definitely a team on the come up. And they could turn around the fortunes of this organization that was a 4th-round draft pick, a lottery pick this year, to a potential playoff team come 2024.
Yeah, and I like the moves that he's making. I think, first of all, I'm glad that they didn't go the route of James Harden. I thought that would have been a ridiculous route, because that's the lose-lose. Well, not so much for James Harden. He would have been paid and gotten to do what he wanted to do. But it would lose for the team on 2 fronts. First of all, how Emi Udoka could coach Harden would be a mystery to me. It'd probably give him headaches more so than the headaches that Harden gave former Sixers head coach Doc Rivers. But
Yeah.
you mentioned those three studs that they have, that Houston has coming back, those three young players who stars that make it, but they're stars. That would have stifled their growth, man. I mean, Harden is so ball dominant and such a ball stopper. It would have stifled the growth of those other three young stars. So I'm glad that they brought an actual leader, and Fred Van Vliet starts to try saying that a few times. That he provides leadership, defense, and he's coach and another coach on the floor. That's what those young guys need. So to your point, don't be surprised if Houston challenges for one of the 3 playing spots, man. So 2 playing spots. So
yeah,
it's interesting. I should say 4 playing spots. So anyway, and by the way, I mentioned KJ Martin earlier. He was traded to the Clippers, so that's a good landing spot for him.
yeah.
So that's a win-win for both of us. Oh, and also failed to mention another free agency signing. My Knicks added Dante DiVincenzo, or as Bomani Jones calls him, White Dante, on a 4-year, $50 million deal. Another Wildcat, the villain of a Wildcat on the Knicks roster to go along with Jalen Brunson and the other guy. His name is escaping right now. Anyway, I'll think of his name later. But good move for my Knicks because we need the shooting. So yeah. So let's get into the extensions right quick. I teased it earlier. We saw Anthony Edwards recently get an extension today. He signed the max for 5 years over $250. And surprisingly, LaMelo Ball agreed to a 5-year max rookie extension with the Charlotte Hornets for about the same, 5 years, $260 million.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good for LaMelo because he hasn't been healthy the last couple of seasons to get the money. And he said he wanted to stay and help build Charlotte to a contender, which is coming up for him. Much respect to LaMelo. Who else got extensions? Looks like Jordan Clarkson has finalized a 3-year extension with the Utah Jazz. There's another extension I saw earlier. I can't find it now. Oh, Desmond Bane, yeah, with the Grizzlies, agreed to a 5-year, $207 million max extension, which much deserved. He talks a lot of shit along with John Morant and them, but much deserved. They got if John Morant gets his head out of his ass, they got a great team, a great future. But here's an extension. Again, I'm not mad at the guys, the young guys who get these, who accept these extensions. But why are the Sacramento Kings giving Domantas Sabonis a $200+ million extension? He shrunk in the playoffs, man. He shrunk against the Golden State Warriors in the first round. Why? I mean, he left his point guard out to dry. Why did the Kings give Sabonis? He's a damn good player, but he's not that big of a max player. Why did they give him over $200 million?
Well, I mean, the same thing can be said about a lot of these other players, guys who didn't play well during the regular season but had outstanding playoffs, like you said with Strauss and with Reeves. Well, actually, Reeves had a wonderful 2023 as a whole. Mm-hmm. But the same thing can be said about Sabonis in his regular season. All-star during this past season. He comes in this upcoming year looking a little small, but you could probably blame that on the fact that this was his first playoff series with the organization that hasn't had necessarily a run into the playoffs, period. So maybe they get a little leeway with that, and they're thinking to themselves, hopefully with a little bit more consistency within this organization and the young players that they currently have, that they could probably continue to build upon that. But, they're the Sac Kings. What else are they going to do? I would say this. It's better that they invest in the guys. I mean, even though Sabonis is a trade guy from Indiana, right, it's better to go ahead and invest in the guys that you currently have than try to go out and try to find pieces to hopefully fit within that organization to continue to make that team play good. We already know that team can play good with those pieces. Hopefully they can get better in the offseason. Not the offseason, but in the postseason come 2024.
Right. And quick correction on my part. Max Drew signed for $63 million, not $33 million. So my bad on that. But here's some more extensions. Chris Middleton, Bucks, 3-year, $102 million. That's a pretty good deal for Middleton. Cam Johnson turns to the Nets for 4 years, $108 million, which is also pretty good compared if you do the average 4 years, $108 million. I mentioned Bruce Brown earlier. Kyrie Irving is another one. Kind of stuck with each other, but returns to the Mavericks for 3 years, $126 million, which is not, which it's over $40 million a year for Kyrie, some Curry, I asked. But where else is Kyrie going to go, right? I mean, no one out there was going to give Kyrie the money that he was looking for, and he knew it. And unfortunately, the Mavericks, I don't know if the Mavericks didn't know it, but they should have known it. Otherwise, I don't think they would have given him a contract averaging $40 million over, albeit just 3 more years, but $40 million on your cap is $40 million. So it's going to be interesting how, I know Kyrie and Luka Doncic is going to have an offseason together in a training camp together to get the chemistry right or whatever. So we'll see how that works, because when Kyrie joined them last year, you recall, they went from a playoff team to out of the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's a concern for me. Before I get to Kyrie, let me talk about those other 2 deals real quick. One with the Chris Middleton, that was a deal where people believed that he was going to end up re-signing with Milwaukee when he exercised his option not to get that extension. Is that correct?
Yeah,
and they thought he was going to end up re-signing with Milwaukee and looking to make that more of a team-friendly deal.
Yeah.
Who was the other deal that you talked about as well?
Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
Who else is going to put up buckets in Brooklyn?
That's correct.
I look at the Cam Johnson
Bridges,
deal.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I look at the Cam Johnson deal the same way I look at the Kyle Kuzma deal in DC. Who else is going to put up buckets? Well, in DC, it'll be Kuzma and Jordan Poole. But who else is going to get it? And why don't you go ahead and just get them ducats while you get an opportunity to put up some shots? But to that last contract that you talked about with Kyrie, I have some concerns. Hopefully they can get on the same page in terms of Kyrie and Luka.
Right.
Because Luka looked very distraught after the All-Star break once that trade was made. And it seemed like he just kept getting sicker and sicker every week. Like, he wanted to say the problem was Kyrie, but he couldn't. Which boggles my mind why they re-signed him. Because if you look at all of the pieces together, what's the one thing that was new that led, I'm not going to say led to it, but what was the one thing that changed right before the downfall of the Dallas Mavericks getting eliminated from the playoffs? That is the addition of Kyrie.
Correct. Yeah. And remember, Luka said when he was doing an interview, I don't know if it was like some press conference, he said that he wasn't, quote, not having fun anymore. Yeah. That could be interpreted one of many ways. To your point, he didn't want to come out and say that Kyrie was the problem.
Yeah.
So,
and so I hope this summer they learn how to have fun together. But my sister, who's a big NBA fan, made a wonderful analogy as it pertains to Kyrie. You might have a friend that dates around, and he always says that his ex or soon-to-be ex is crazy and they're the issue. But you see this guy go through three girls in a row and get to the 4th, and it looks problematic already at girlfriend number 4. And you have to think to yourself, maybe it ain't the women. Maybe it's your boy that's wilding out. What is it that's the problem with your boy that he just can't seem to find success any and everywhere he go? And when you look at Kyrie, problem in Boston, problem in Brooklyn. Now it's a problem and well, it looked like it's a problem brewing here in Dallas. Hopefully they can turn it around for their sake, because they made a huge investment in this, and I don't know how positively it's going to end up giving benefit, generating dividends for the Dallas Mavericks as of right now. This is a team that was, what, a fourth seed at the All-Star break?
They have home court. They would say
They
we
were
have
a
a home
fourth
court advantage
seed.
for the first round. Yeah.
They went from fourth seed to going effing home. How?
Right.
With an all-star player in Kyrie Irving. How?
Again,
I don't
I'll
get
sway.
it. Yeah. But you know what? That's what happens when you get rid of a guy in Brunson, Jalen Brunson.
And we say thank you. Knicks Nation says thank you for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. So, you get rid of Jalen Brunson just so you can go ahead and get Kyrie Irving. That makes no sense to me. But to your point earlier, you're talking about Brunson, you're talking about Josh Hart, and now DiVincenzo, that Villanova squad all reuniting in New York. I'm going to be intrigued to see how they play together on the pro level together.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. They call them the New York Wildcats. Before we go on, I'm gonna give a quick shout out before we continue the discussion on NBA free agency. Give a quick shout out to my sponsor, BetUs.com. So listen up, sports bettors. Your favorite sports book, BetUs.com, is back for their 30th year of NFL action. So with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, UFC, MLB, and NBA. So if you're looking for live in-game betting, incredible odds with daily odds, boosters, props, and parlays, they got them. And how about fast payouts and exceptional one-on-one customer service? They have that too. So long to betus.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. You can use the promo code TKT for the Klown times as well. BetUS.com, where the game begins. All right, man. Let's keep rocking well with this free agency discussion, y'all. I mean, we've hit all the top spots. We hit all the good spots, right? All the big ass extensions, all the questionable extensions, as well as the equally baffling, some made a bit of sense. Free agency deals. Notice that Dennis Schroeder got like 2 years, 26 million with the Raptors. They may be having fire sale because they're in the Pascal Siakam sweepstakes. You touched upon Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. So let's talk about your Wizards right quick before we get into more signings. And one big trade apple that's out there. I'm gonna tease for later in the show. Do you or the other Wizards fans out there recognize the squad? They have a makeover.
You know what? It's been interesting. So I've been out here since June 11th.
Yeah.
And I haven't had an opportunity to really listen to DC Sports Talk Radio.
Okay.
But I have been intrigued to know what they've been saying since I've been gone.
All
because,
right.
of course, the trade of Bradley Beal, which I know they most definitely are celebrating. with Chris Paul coming into DC, which I didn't like, only for him to be shipped off for Jordan Poole, which, I said, okay. Now, do I recognize this team? Very little. Because there are a lot of new guys coming in. Kyle Kuzma returns. The center returns. Big DG comes back. Now everyone else, it's who are these dudes and what are they going to do for this team? All right, we kind of have an idea of who Jordan Poole is and what he might do. Hopefully we get regular season Jordan Poole and not playoff Jordan Poole. I can't remember the young lady who he's dealing with, but I'm going to need somebody to go to Georgetown, get her a slice of pizza and have her calm down.
Oh, yeah.
Leave JP alone.
He's a munch, by the way. Speaking of which, he is indeed a munch. But keep going.
So, I'm intrigued to see what this team looks like together because there are a lot of guys on this roster that are filled with potential. Tyrus Jones, if you've watched enough Memphis Grizzly games, you've seen him. Like, I've seen him. I haven't necessarily followed his game because while I'm watching Memphis, I'm watching John Morant. Right. But I do know, Jones is good for a good 10 points, so he'll be our starting point guard there, playing alongside Jordan Poole and and Kuzma and Daniel Gafford. That's who I refer to as Big DG, starting at the center spot. But everyone else coming off the bench, you got a lot of youth coming off that bench. What's your boy's name? Bilal, that came from France, that played along with Remy over in France.
Yeah.
The 7th overall draft pick. We got him coming off the bench, potentially along with Shemet, who got a lot of playoff burn as well. So it seems to be a lot of potential. But I know before I came out here with the hiring of the new team president, I believe, and GM, the one thing that they asked the GM was he given the green light to potentially do a rebuild with his organization? He said, most definitely, as it pertains to him and his conversation with the team owner. And that's exactly what it looks like that they're doing right now, coming through with a lot of youth and hoping to go ahead and build this team to at least continue to fight for another playoff spot again this year. I don't see this team being any better than a 7th seed as of right now, based upon the current makeup. You know, a couple of familiar faces in Wright and Denny comes back as well, along with Corey Respite. But everybody else, like I said, Poole, new face, Jones, new face, Shemet, Gallinari, the draft pick, the 2 draft picks that they got as well, and Ryan Rollins from Golden State. Yeah, it's a lot of new faces in a new place, and I'm wondering how Unseld Jr. is going to deal with it.
Yeah. I just kind of wonder. I'll say this. A change of series has to do good for Jordan Poole, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even though he went from a championship winning organization to the Wizards, because, I mean, this is after he signed that big deal, right? They being the Warriors decided to bring back Draymond Green, and rightfully so, for $400 million over 4 years. It's a great contract for both parties. No one's too much overpaid. Draymond Green knows his worth with the Warriors is better there than elsewhere. So good for him to be self-aware, realizing that. Sure, I mean, Jordan Poole will have a greener light for sure. I'm just wondering, you touched it earlier, just the fit. I mean, you got him and Kuzma. I mean, 2 guys who can put the ball in the hoop. But to your point, I'm worried about the rest of the roster. I mean, because I don't see them finishing above 7 or 8.
Yeah. And I will say this, if they don't make the playoffs, hot seat watch for Unseld Jr. with a new GM there, chances are they're going to want to bring in their guy.
Yeah. And so it's going to be very interesting, man. It's going to be very interesting because we're going to show on 2 major trades, right? Well, 1 major trade that went down. Well, actually 2 major trades since we last talked, and one that's going to hit the news momentarily. First of all, Kristaps Porzingis traded from your Wizards to the Boston Celtics, and come to find out, the Celtics been coveting him for a while.
Yeah.
So it's too bad that they had to end up parting ways with Marcus Smart because of the injury to Michael Brogdon, who was originally including a 3-team deal to go to the Clippers before he felt his physical. So instead, Marcus Smart had to end up going to Memphis, which I think would be a great fit for Memphis. I mean, another tough-minded guy, a defensive-minded guy to go along with Jaren Jackson Jr. Hopefully, he'll help keep Ja Morant on straight and narrow, mentor him on and off the court. And I think Morant respects him enough for his toughness. So I think that'll be a good fit there. But, man, another Wizard leaving town, Bradley Beal. Never thought I'd see the day where his ass allows him to get shipped out of town. He's now in Phoenix to go along with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and for some reason, that waste of height, DeAndre Ayton's still there. So I'll say this, man. I think Kristaps Porzingis is a great fit in Boston. I just kind of wonder, and I think Bill would be okay in Phoenix because let's face it, he's not a Batman. And I actually heard on one of the NBA radio shows that he's more like an Alfred. But not even Robert, but Alfred. But I think he won't have. I think he'll fit okay in Phoenix because he doesn't have to worry about carrying the load. I just wonder where the depth is going to come from. Phoenix had zero bench before. Now they have like negative value bench. Is they have to fill out with a bunch of undrafted or cheap ass veteran players. So I think in the long run, Boston would benefit more than Phoenix. Just because of lack of depth vision. But what are your thoughts on that with seeing both your Wizards being shipped out of town?
Well, Porzingis is the one that I was slightly disappointed in, but you know, it was reported that he was looking to become a free agent anyway. Right. So they dealt him, which was smart for them. So at least they get something. Yeah, so at least they got something in return. Mm-hmm. And with Beal, you know, good riddance. I'm not gonna lie. Damn. Good riddance.
Plus winning tears for y'all, man. What happened?
Yes, but I'll say this though. Even with him playing playing the 10 years that he did play with us, right?
Right.
I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years where he played less than 70 games for them.
Mm.
Less than 70. And the best availability, well, the best ability is availability. And I'm looking at what's that? At least half of those years where he played less than 60. And then this year, when he did play, he didn't look like he was happy to be there for a dude who had a no trade clause.
Right.
Yo, you're gonna be there and be unhappy. What good are you? And then not play. What good are you other than collecting a check? You know, and I've kind of this is what's going on in Phoenix is kind of a better version of what the Wizards were. What year was that? 2000 and God almighty. I want to say it was, in fact, I'm going to look it up real quick. 2018, okay. When they had a healthy John Wall, when they had a Martin Gortat, an Otto Porter. Again, it's a slightly better version of that team. And that team was a team that had 43 wins. I can see this Suns team playing good enough to get about 45 to 50. But I don't see this team as being a scary team to win a title. I don't see this team that can't play any defense and Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal being stoppers because they ain't.
Right.
And then another thing, what did I just say? The best ability is availability. We already know that Bradley Beal has issues staying healthy. We know that Kevin Durant has issues staying healthy. And Devin Booker is starting to deal with health issues as of now, too. Mm-hmm. And then you talk about Andre Ayton and a waste of height. Who's playing defense on this squad? I don't know. But we already know that the Denver Nuggets can play defense.
Right.
And they can score buckets.
Correct.
So, are they beating the Nuggets? I don't know. I don't think so. Especially if you can't stop nobody. So I'm a little concerned about this team. It's sexy to see Booker, Durant, and Beal, you know, probably on 2K15, right? That's sexy. But to have them actually play together in real life,
yeah,
it concerns me. It does.
Yeah, and I'll say this, man. I wonder if Phoenix, in their private time, just wish that they never maxed that offer sheet that the Indiana Pacers gave to Ayton. He would have been clear and gone. Monty Williams is probably still there coaching the team. They don't have to break the team down. All that because of the mistake they made and retaining the service of DeAndre when both sides couldn't let him go. I don't get the move. Then I really chuckle at that because I'm pretty sure Phoenix, even slightly a few months after the fact, were like, what the hell did we do? Why did we match the offer sheet when we could have had his ass out of town? Maybe they would have lost him for nothing. I don't know. but you're not going to get much for trading for him now, get him away now, because
No.
teams know that it's not a good fit. You want to get rid of his ass, so you're going to get pennies on the dollar. So again, this is why it pays to choose wisely when it comes to free agency and you're dealing out your money. It really pays, but it is what it is. But I just want to just talk about one last thing, man, to close the show, man.
But before we get there, real quick, I
Yeah.
don't even know necessarily if Monty stays with James Jones being there and the new owner. Well, not the new owner, but the current owner of the Phoenix Suns. I can't remember what his name is. That dude attempting to make splashes to try to hurry up and win a championship now after they were so close just 2 to 3 years ago.
Right.
He's doing whatever he can. He's pushing all his chips in. He did it when he went to go get Durant. And he did it again when he went to go get Beal. Don't know if it's the best decisions to make, but they're attempts. Don't necessarily like them. Don't think that they'll pan out. But my question is, who are they going to blame come this time next year when it doesn't work?
Right. And there's the rub. Therein lies the rub right there. Boom.
Because CP3 is now gone. Monty Williams is gone. Who do you point the finger at now? Because you did this. Listening to Isaiah Thomas, you did this.
Do you believe that Isaiah Thomas had a lot to do with those moves? At least particular one with Chris Paul?
I'm going to say this. Where there's smoke, that's all I can say.
Wow.
Where there's smoke. I believe he has something to do with it. How much? That I don't know. But if he does, and you're listening to him, my question is, what happens when it doesn't work? Who do you blame then?
Frank Vogel, their new head coach. He got the blame everywhere else. But that's going to be a disaster next year, come to think about it. So the biggest news to hit the wire, man. Damian Lillard finally requesting a trade to get out of Portland. Maybe that was why the Blazers signed Jeremy Grant to a $160 million deal, which is suspect on all fronts, even though it's 5 years to spread that money out. But $160 million for Jeremy Green, a good player, but it's not a $160 million player. I'm sorry. And now, and since they drafted Scoot Henderson, which I think is going to be a great fit for Portland, I think he's a future star in this league. I don't know why. Look, I understand Damian Lillard. He's big on loyalty, right? He's big on loyalty. Mm-hmm. And he signed a contract, a supermax deal that's averaging him $60 million a year. Okay. He knew when upon taking the contract that Portland, Portland's ceiling with him was reached, right? That year when he got to the conference finals against the Golden State Warriors way back when, only a few years ago. But still, the point is, he knew when he signed that deal that Portland wasn't going anywhere. I think he was just more comfortable, just comfortable there. He was trying to get guys to come to Portland because he loves the Portland area, which I don't fault him for that. Again, I don't fault him for taking the players that take the money, big money for these teams. They seem to be going nowhere fast. But still, he still knew that they weren't going anywhere fast, and now he finally has to be traded, which should have happened 2 seasons ago, to be honest with you. And I don't know. I know he prefers to go to the Heat, but I don't know if that's even possible unless they get a 3rd or 4th team. But in any event, Portland is being over. Teams have Portland over the barrel because they know that everybody that mama knows that Damian Lillard wants out of town. So if you're a betting man, the teams that out there aside from the Heat, like I think I saw somewhere the Clippers, maybe a couple other squads. What do you think, gut feeling in your crystal ball, what do you think Damian Lillard ends up when it's all said and done?
When it's all said and done, I believe he becomes a Heat. The question is, though, who can they convince to be the other teams involved? What other teams can they convince to get involved with this deal? That's where it gets cloudy.
Right.
You know, Portland wants him gone. Miami wants him.
Mm-hmm.
The question is who else is going to be willing, and how does Tyler Hero end up working out in this deal as well? Because he's an integral part of this
Yes, he
this
is.
thing happening.
Right.
So it's more of a matter, in my eyes, a matter of when this deal would happen and who is the third man to go ahead and paraphrase the infamous Bobby Heenan when in relation to talking about the
Bobby the
NWO back in the day.
Brain. Shout
Who
out to
is
the
the third man?
WWF. Yes.
Yes. Who is the third man? So we got to try to figure out who the third team is going to be in this deal to make that happen. But I anticipate Dillard. I anticipate Dame. I'm sorry, Lillard being in Miami because Miami's going to need something in order to. I'm not going to necessarily say keep pace, but keep pace with Boston. They need somebody that they're going to need a big name in there so they can keep pace with the Celtics right now. I don't know if necessarily that Celtics team fully gels together.
Right.
But again, they're good on paper.
And speaking of Eastern Conference teams, I forgot to mention this clown, James Harden, who once again is forcing his way out of a situation, which is baffling this time around because he's forced his way off with Sixers team that was one bad game away from reaching the Eastern Conference Finals. So is anyone going to trade for this fat ass underachiever in the postseason? I mean, I'm not a James Harden fan. He cares more about his stats, strippers, and getting fat more than winning. I said it. I didn't stutter. He doesn't give a damn about winning. So where's this fat ass? Is anyone going to trade for this fool? If so, who's the sucker? I mean, the team who's going to trade for this guy.
I'll say this. You and I have kind of been early on that train of James Harden is on this downfall. For the past few years, when you listen to pundits from the larger networks, they've been crossing their fingers and in their eyes, hoping that this team of Joel Embiid and James Harden would work out in Philly and potentially churn out a championship. And it hasn't worked. And we've been saying it for the past 3 years. It's not working with James Harden. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? I don't get it. Now, if anyone is going to be willing to trade for James Harden, it's going to have to be someone, God, who is going to be desperate and is going to have a head coach that's going to either be strong-willed enough to go ahead and deal with Harden and probably force him to come off the bench and be a sixth man in a championship organization. Or it's going to be a young team looking for some veteran presence. And my God, the young team. Sorry about that. Dilla does it. But it's going to be a young team, and God bless that young team that has to bring in James Harden to be the voice of reason to come in there and help them get organized. Hopefully, it's going to be a spot where at least the team is able to sell more tickets by saying that they have James Harden there. But I think the days of what we know as the beard are now gone.
You know what, though? This move has Atlanta Hawks written all over. A desperate team doing stupid shit, right? Just to put asses in seats. This is a move that I don't know who the hell they're going to give up for him, but they would do something stupid like that, like bringing an underachiever in James Harden. But hey, that's not my team. So hey, if they want to do it, God bless them.
Ain't mine either.
Par, but hey, if they want to do it, God bless them, right?
Now, help me out, Scott. I don't. Do you remember there was, a graphic that was released on Reddit about how James Harden played in cities that had good strip clubs versus the ones where they had bad ones? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. That was awesome, man.
Now, do you remember if he played better in the cities with better strip clubs or if he played worse? He did play better.
I think he played better. I think he played better just because I have to go back and check. So,
Now,
because he was motivated.
If that is the case, that could be a benefit for the Atlanta Hawks because you got 41 games at the crib. Boom.
Right.
We already know what goes down in the A. And if you like me, I'm a gentleman that enjoys hood spots like I do. The Blue Flame is one of my favorite spots. Don't judge me. So you got 41 games at the crib. Then in division, he has Miami. Guess what? Then Charlotte. On the low, Charlotte got some spots too.
Sure.
And then number 3 city for me, of course, is my hometown of Washington, D.C. And I know the spots there. And so does,
I bet you do.
And so does Cam Newton, who I believe the mother of his child is also a former purveyor of said establishment in D.C. as well. So he has a litany of games that the Hawks will have to play in wonderful cities of adult entertainment where he could potentially flourish alongside one what's your boy's name? God, out of Oklahoma. What's his name? Light-skinned boy.
Oh, from the University of Oklahoma, you say?
Yes. The point guard.
Blake Griffin, huh?
No, not Blake Griffin. The point guard for it.
Yeah. Trey Young. Sorry.
Trey Young. So you'll have James Harden playing alongside Trey Young with his opportunities. See, look, I'm lamenting about strip clubs so much I forgot about Trey Young's name. See, I need to go ahead and focus. But if you say Atlanta has their name written all on it, I can see that, but I can see how that could potentially be a benefit if that Reddit graphic still holds weight in 2023.
Well, wonder how DeAndre Murray would have anything to say about that. Maybe he was indoctrinated in the strip club culture there. Who knows? But God, whoever James Harden, I hope he goes to Atlanta because that'll be a train wreck waiting to happen, and I'll be here. I'll be here for the train wreck. Anyway, man, where can the good people find your good work on the internet, bro? Social. We've been a little slow this summer. I'm out here catching this Cali sun, but as you said earlier. Football season's on the way, and I'm about to get back on it very soon. As usual, you can check me out on social media at The Yard HBCU Sports on all platforms. Mm-hmm. And of course, come this August, I will have my previews for the MEAC and the SWAC. And then of course, with the HBCUs that are in the CAA, Hampton and North Carolina A&T, as well as Tennessee State. In the OVC, and you can find that at herosports.com. So get ready for those, and hopefully we'll have a wonderful fall this upcoming season. Awesome. And you can continue to check me out here on YouTube. Again, when you like what we said or not, I agree, just feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, because any of it, you'll be glad you did. I'll be glad you did. And until next time, y'all take care. Stay cool, as humid as a mug out there here on the East Coast and Midwest. So not so much here on the West Coast, you're chilling. But anyway, y'all have a great weekend and all the good stuff. Take care and enjoy your happy 4th too. Happy 4th of July in advance. Peace out.